First off, fuck your bitch and the click you claim. West side, when we ride, come equipped with game. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas fuck for life. Plus, Puffy tryna see me weak, hearts I rip. Biggie Smalls and Junior Mafia, some mark ass bitches. We keep on coming while we running for your Jews that he gonna keep.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, citizens of all ages, welcome back to another edition Star Citizen, and it's finally happened. Miles fucking Eckhart finally reached out to me, and I am so excited to finally bring you this footage. Now, I'm sure by now, some, if not most, if not all of you have probably seen Miles Eckhart in one way or another, but this is the first time, well, the first time I was able to record, the first time Miles Eckhart finally decided to make contact. Now, what's really odd is, and sorry about the shaking in the video. I was really excited when this happened, so you're going to see me kind of like jumping around with the camera, being super excited, so apologies about that. But it's really weird because I don't know what I did to spurn him from reaching out to me. Now, I had done, I want to say, like a bounty hunter mission. I think one was successful. I did another one where it was unsuccessful, and I believe I did one of the mercenary missions for the lowriders, clearing them out. But other than that, I mean, I've done those missions umpteen million times previously and never had him reach out. In fact, if anything, I actually abandoned more missions in this playthrough than normal for one reason or another, whether it be I couldn't get the mission, or let me rephrase that, I couldn't find the mission point to go to, or the mission only half loaded and didn't have all the information in it. Like for one of the bounty hunter missions that I had to abandon, it basically was like, oh, bounty hunter mission 4 null, and it's like, oh, that doesn't seem very correct, which it was not. But I finally got him to reach out to me, and I am super duper psyched. So in the meantime, before I get there, I do have a couple things I want to talk about. One of them being one of the new concept ships, well, the newest concept ship, the Drake Vulture. Now, at first, the idea of a starter ship in the salvage line is a great idea. But what's weird is the Vulture looks suspiciously a lot like the Venture from EVE Online. Now, I'm not saying Star Citizen necessarily copied them, but the design looks very, 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 very similar. Now, in the same breath, however, you could say that Chris Roberts came up with that design originally, because I think it was Wing Commander or Wing Commander 2, where they had another similarly aesthetic ship, or aesthetically similar ship. It was blue. I don't recall what that ship's function was or what it did. So, I mean, technically you could say that it's gone full circle. Other people argue that the Drake Vulture, sorry, looks a lot like a kind of blown-up dragonfly. I can totally see that as well, but given the size of the Vulture, I don't know. I think it's a little bit small, especially for a salvage ship. I think it's a good idea, kind of, to have ships like that. I was watching a video from another citizen, forgive me, I don't remember what his name was, but he came up with a good point that what was it, I don't know, I don't remember the version number, but I think he said the version number, but basically, the idea at first was all ships would be able to do all these jobs, and the example that he used was the Aurora. He was like, oh, you know, you'll be able to put on equipment to do mining or salvaging on the Aurora, but then they changed the hard points, so now you can't, and this and that, and da-da-da-da-da. This was a gentleman who refunded, by the way, and he actually brought up a lot of good points, things that I actually wasn't aware of. So I don't know how I feel necessarily about these career starter ships. I mean, I think it would have been cooler to have all ships have the ability to do most tasks. I mean, we're still early on. That ability still might be in the works, but if that were the case, then I don't understand the point of having like starter career ships. I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of overthinking this a little bit. If the Vulture was a little bit bigger, had a little bit more room, I think it would be something I'd be a little bit more interested in. At the same time, I do have a reclaimer that can basically do all that stuff and more. It's just in a much larger footprint. Hopefully, with the reclaimer, they'll kind of tune that in a little bit better, because taking off from planets is a bitch right now. I'm sorry, taking off from moons is a bitch right now. I went to, I think it was Daymar. Yeah, I was doing a black box recovery mission. Flew to either, no, it wasn't Daymar, I lied. It was either Yila or Selin. I think it was Selin, actually. I landed my reclaimer just fine, at least I thought I did, but it was a couple of inches off the ground somehow, even though it was flush, and as such I couldn't get back in. It took me the longest time to get back in. Finally, when I did able to sneak back in, it would not take off. I basically had to use the VTOLs to break out of atmosphere before the thing would finally take off. So I really hope that they dial that in a little bit more. Now, here is something else. As I was flying to Levski, thinking about talking to Miles Eckhart, something wouldn't stop running through my mind, and that was the fact that the Levski elevators are so fucked up right now. I have seen horror and heard horror stories. I have been a victim of some of these elevator horror stories, and here I was thinking, oh, maybe if I can land in one it'll be okay. But of course, shaft number 2 is the one that opened for me, and shaft number 2 is one of the ones that I myself have been having a lot of issues with, and a lot of other people were having issues with. So I thought, you know what? No. Instead of going in there, I'm going to land in the courtyard. Because I've seen other ships in the courtyard. I've been there for not a long time, but a long enough time. So, if you find yourself in a similar predicament where Miles Eckhart reaches out to you, or you want to run to Levski for something, but you don't want to run the risk or hassle of dealing with the fucked up elevators, just park out in the courtyard. Or at least what I'm calling the courtyard. They're over by the garages. You'll be able to see that in just a moment once I pop outside the back here. The garage should be directly behind, and boom, there it is. I believe that's garage 1. Don't quote me on that, but that is a garage. And my ship stayed here the whole time. Look, I even have 2 guards watching it for me. One of the reasons I wanted to show you guys about that courtyard landing is because I've seen a couple people who got missions from Eckhart and they didn't want to go because they had to go to Levski and run the risk of getting trapped or despawned or stuck. So I hope that helps. Now for Miles' part, I'm actually going to stay silent so we can all listen.
Glad you could make it. Grab a seat. Time to time, jobs find their way to me that aren't orthodox requests. There's a better way to say that, but let's just say they aren't the kind of ops you can give to just anyone. They require a very specific type of person. Now, mutual friends have told me that you might be one of those precious few who are capable of completing a contract without question. If I'm wrong, we can leave it at that. Enjoy a drink in my spectacular company for a few minutes, and we'll part ways with the understanding that this meeting never happened. If I'm right, I might just have a gig that I could use you for.
Wait a minute, is that guy just doing the moonwalk? Yeah, look at, he's just moonwalking on by. Hey man, we're trying to do some pirate business here. Could you, like, not Michael Jackson around?
Got a new job if you're interested. Sending you the details.
Alright, so that was pretty cool. Now, minus the fact that I had a run-in with that weird Michael Jackson wannabe guy, but I think this part seems to be glitched because I stood up, but, you know, what are you gonna do? Now, he gave me a mission to subdue a bounty. Now, when I read that, I was like, subdue? What do you mean subdue? So I was trying to go back to my missions, and for some reason it seemed to have bugged out here, and I freaked out because I was like, no! Of course, when I finally get an Eckhart mission again. So going back to that, if you remember from earlier, which here's my little celebratory, yay, Eckhart talk to me, woo, moment. Yes, I'm mature. Ooh, you want to fight about it? But... So, the last time that Miles Eckhart reached out to me, it was back at, I don't even remember when it was, but I wanted and started to record it. I think this was back when it was really, really glitchy in 3.0 when it first came out, but that when that came out, well, it was really glitchy, as you all remember, but Eckhart actually reached out to me. And as I was on my way to him, the game crashed. So I didn't even bother using that little bit that I recorded. I mean, it was a long amount of footage I might have used before that for some of the videos, but when I got up to and after that, I completely toasted it because it was useless. But he finally was able to talk to me, so when I opened up my Mobi-Glass just then and I couldn't click, I was like, don't you fucking dare tell me you're going to crash out on me again. Luckily, it didn't, because here we are. So, another thing that I do want to slightly touch on while I'm going to my ship and going to this mission is the controversy behind the $27,000 Legatus pack. Yes, I know, I'm late to the party. I would direct you to look at the name of my channel, and I would also direct you to look at my previous video, and I would also ask and direct you to the contents of that previous video where I might be changing my name to Month-Late Gamer. Okay, I'm joking about that, but I'm late to the party is my point, and now you might understand the joke as to why I call myself Day Late Gamer, right? Okay. So I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in on it, really, because I've seen a lot of people saying one thing, some people saying another. Young Yeah, I don't know if any of you watch him or know of him, but he came out with a video where he was basically shitting and slamming Star Citizen, shitting all over it, slamming it, and that made me a little sad because I kind of like some of Young's videos. I found him when I was in my obsession over Metal Gear Phantom Pain when you know, the enigmatic Kojima would just drop little tidbits of stuff and would go over it. So I started to kind of like him, but then he put out this video which I felt was really wrong. Like, I could, from an outside perspective, from an outsider, I see his thought process, but that's just it. He didn't really do any research into it, and I feel like that's how a lot of those videos were made, but at the same time, you see something like the video from Montoya, where I think he worded it and really, I mean, knocked it out of the park, and I might even steal a little bit of what he was saying, because, I mean, it's just that true, and it just nails the point home. Basically, some of the arguments is that Star Citizen is pay to win, and to a degree, I don't agree with it fully, because, you know, you could have a Super Hornet and be a terrible pilot, and then you could go up against someone who has, you know, a Gladius and is a phenomenal pilot. Well, that Gladius could very well kick your ass, especially if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know your ship. You know, it is definitely a more skill-based scenario. So, really, what you're doing more so in paying is you're skipping the grind. I would call it more paying in lieu of grinding. You know, some people, some professional-esque people, have less time than others, so they're not going to have the time to spend hours upon hours just to get to the ship to do the type of gameplay they want to do. Now, conversely, the amount that they're charging for the ships, I feel, is kind of outrageous, and by kind of, I mean some of them are absolutely outrageous. But given that it's a kick-started program and it's backers, and it's, you know, we're backers and we're backing it, and those are pledges, and it's kind of more of like a thank you, but really it's a purchase. I mean, you know, let's not split hairs here. You're purchasing them. It's just, you know, that player who has the Gladius might have the time to be able to put in to work up to the Super Hornet. Whereas the owner of the Super Hornet, you know, maybe he's some mechanical engineer who has to work overnights or something, and, you know, he just wants to be able to go in and, you know, be able to kind of fight. Granted, that kind of nullifies my earlier comment, because if he's shit at it, you know, but he can train. He can, you know, try to get better at it. You know, he doesn't have to now waste the time to get there. Although an argument can be made, the time that he would have spent getting there would have improved him by the time he got there. But that's just it. You know, maybe he wants to buy the merchantman and wants to be a trader. You know, doesn't want to go through the hassle of flying all around just to get to the ship to be able to start trading. So, let me jump back a little bit now. We're back at the Miles Eckhart mission, and I found the bounty. Now, it's actually a Hornet, which I was not expecting. So, going back to what I said previously, my objective is to subdue this bounty. What does subdue mean? You know, I'm in my Caterpillar, and, I mean, wow, no, or go good with brain derp. I'm in my Cutlass. Why did I call it a Caterpillar? I am nowhere near a Caterpillar. I haven't been in a Caterpillar. We haven't even seen a Caterpillar. Why did I say Caterpillar? Alright, so I'm in the Cutlass, and, you know, trying my best to knock this Hornet out, and man, its shields are jumping up pretty quickly. Luckily, it's an AI, so he's not very proficient in combat, so I don't have a whole lot to worry about. Basically, subdue means neutralize. I didn't know that. I was here, like, really trying to be cautious with my shots. I was trying to take off, like, the tail, trying to take off the wing, because I didn't know what subdue meant. I didn't know if it meant, you know, knock all the engines off. You've got to be really, you know, sniper-esque with it or something. So, that's why I'm kind of all over and not really in, like, trying to kill him. Like, I'm kind of shooting around, trying to take out, like, the wings and stuff. But, yeah, it's basically just a regular bounty mission, and once you kill him, you get a whole bunch of monies. It's pretty nice. So, going back to the Legatus pack, I don't necessarily see it as pay to win. I see it more as like a pay to forego the grind, which some people want to do. Other people want to grind. They want to get those ships that way. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. If anything, great. You know, that's awesome. some of us want to get to the ships a little bit earlier as well. You know, and another thing that a lot of the naysayers seem to be forgetting is that this was requested by the larger backers, the whales, if you will. So it's not as though SIG was like, shit, we need money, let's just throw something ridiculous together and hope people buy it. Well, that's the other thing. They don't make you buy anything. This is a choice. It's like a TV. You can change the channel if you want. That's all I'm going to say about that. I've been rambling about that way longer than I had anticipated, especially about the Legatus. I was really expecting to just say a couple of words. I don't have a script. I just kind of was going off the cuff with that, and that went way longer than I thought. So if you like this video, please leave a like, as that lets me know that this is something you enjoy and you'd like to continue seeing, and it really helps me out. If you'd like to continue the conversation, please do so down in the comments. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. All you beautiful bastards out there, you have yourselves a rip-roaring, wonderful day, morning, evening, whenever, wherever you just so happen to be. This has been Will, Day Late Gamer, for the meantime, signing off. Love, peace, chicken grease. Fly safe out there.